Alright, so I've just played Doom Eternal and beat it for the first time, and my first thoughts were, wow, this game is a lot more difficult than 2016. Right from the get-go, this game throws everything at you, and Eternal is definitely not for everyone. I headed into this game thinking it would be more of Doom 2016's combat loop, but with some slight changes here and there. But Eternal's combat is a different game with how significant the combat changes are here. It demands strategy, resource management, quick movements, and reaction times. Even on Hermit Plenty, this game is difficult. I found myself to be struggling constantly, and here's why. I would try to play it like it was Doom 2016, and that means I would try to stick to one weapon, be up close with bulky enemies rather than distancing myself. I stated in my 2016 video that the game didn't really encourage weapon switching, and how simple the combat felt. The shotgun, rocket launcher, and Gauss cannons were the only weapons I used actively in that game. You could still cruise through only with a shotgun or another weapon. Sure, that does allow for unique playstyles, but the combat felt mindless, if that makes any sense. Regardless, I still love 2016's combat and had a great time with it. So Eternal's weapon variety and usage was overwhelming to me at first, but with time I slowly began to embrace it and instantly preferred Eternal's combat loop over 2016. I think the best change from 2016 to Eternal was the movement. With the constant abilities and weapon swapping, you must play aggressively. Also, one more thing, I would really appreciate it if you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, and left a comment. It would greatly help this channel out as I'm trying to reach 200 subscribers soon. With that out of the way, I'll get more in depth about everything now, starting with the combat. The combat of Eternal is, like I said, different. The most common point of why I see people not liking Eternal is that it's overwhelming, too fast, or it's not 2016. If it's too fast or overwhelming for you, I think that's a valid argument, as Eternal is quite a demanding game, so that's fair. But the strangest criticism to me is that it's not the same as 2016 argument. Don't get me wrong, I love 2016's combat, but by saying Eternal is not the same as 2016 is basically you saying you're refusing to adapt to this game, therefore you don't like it. Now, since 3 modern Dooms have released and there's a full-on Doom trilogy in the modern era, imagine if they all played the exact same like 2016. No, it would be weird because all the games will be considered samey. I believe what the devs are going for in each game is to make it feel unique in its own right. 2016 has simple and straightforward combat, while Eternal has fast-paced, strategic-based combat. I haven't played Dark Ages yet, so I can't describe it myself and what it feels like. I like that id Software is going for something new in each Doom rather than going with the same formula. It gives people their preferences. Some may prefer 2016 or Dark Ages, whereas me personally, I prefer Eternal's combat so far. Eternal's combat consists of many weapons, those being the shotgun, SSG or super shotgun, heavy cannon, chain gun, plasma gun, ballista, rocket launcher, and the BFG. Each weapon does have its own purpose, and there's emphasis to that purpose in Eternal. The shotgun works like you'd expect it to in up close combat. There's mods returning as well, such as a shotgun grenade mod, but it's changed up in Eternal. You can directly target demons with it, and it's sticky, so you can aim it at an enemy. Most notably, this mod is useful for insta-killing cackle demons, allowing you to glory kill them right away. The normal shotgun is your average weapon, but its counterpart, the SSG, which is what I'll be calling the super shotgun from now, is the same colossal dealer that it was in 2016, but with a grappling hook now. This is the meat hook, a grapple hook that allows you to move towards the enemy swiftly. You can shoot while grappling or switch weapons in midair, so the possibilities are endless. I like grappling and switching to the sniper rifle to land a quick scope on some enemies, or using the ballista as the SSG ballista combo is really broken. Anyways, that's the SSG in a nutshell, a way for you to do good damage and swing around the arena. Next up is the heavy cannon, which is this game's assault rifle. I will say this is much better since the heavy cannon has a purpose now. In 2016, I never really bothered to use the assault rifle because it was really weak and the mods weren't that good for me. So giving it a upgrade of a sniper rifle through a mod is awesome. This weapon will be mainly used to snipe enemy weak points, those being the Mancubus arm cannons, Revenant rocket launchers, and the Spider's turret on top of it. Quick scoping is the most used you'll get because of how much you have to deal with, especially in the later fights. Next is the chain gun, and it works the same in 2016, a solid damage dealer and a nice alternative to the shotgun. It does have the mobile turret mod and the new energy shield mod, replacing the spin mod from 2016. The chain gun is better in this game than in 2016 in my opinion. The energy shield is quite a nice addition. The mobile turret is a fun mod to use as well. The plasma gun is up next, and it does have a completely different design as it's a callback to how the plasma gun used to look back in the classic Doom game. games. This weapon is still useless. The only time you ever use this weapon is when fighting the Doom Hunter, where you are required to use it while taking down the Doom Hunter enemies because it has a plasma shield, although you can somewhat bypass it just by shooting the little sled it's on. I will say I don't like that they removed the Shock Blast from 2016 because it made the plasma rifle somewhat useful for that reason alone, but now I don't use this weapon unless I'm required to do so. I just don't find much use of this weapon at all. Up next is the Ballista, and this weapon is one of my favorites to use most definitely. The Ballista is supposed to serve as the replacement for the Gauss Cannon. Its precision is definitely something of note. It fires a heated shot towards enemies. I like to use this weapon on bulky enemies and in quick swap combos with the SSG after using the grapple hook. It also has charge shots and sends a horizontal beam of some sort. I really like the Ballista in this game. It's fun to use for quick swaps and SSG combos and is a really nice combo weapon. Up next is the Rocket Launcher. It's the exact same as in 2016, but the design has changed up a little bit. It has the same mods with locking onto a target or remote detonating. I like using it to kill a bunch of quick smaller enemies when using the flamethrower to get a pool of armor quickly. It's able to drop an AoE attack and is a versatile weapon, but again I find it most useful when using the flamethrower, then exploding all the little guys to get free armor. The BFG is self-explanatory. It's the big f***ing gun. It's a powerhouse, but it's not as readily available compared to 2016. The times you use it feel like you've lost something significant. Not to say that the BFG isn't as good, but simply BFG ammo is more scarce, so using it feels costly. It's not like a get out of jail free card like it was in 2016. The chainsaw returns, replenishing your ammo when needed. It definitely is controversial here. While in 2016, I used it sparingly since I was given a crap ton of ammo. However, in Eternal, you are pretty much required to use the chainsaw damn near all the time. I don't like personally having to constantly use the chainsaw. Granted, it does refill automatically. Using the chainsaw on bigger enemies is not worth it as well, and it's only reserved for the fodder enemies, which in some arenas, I'd spend a good chunk of time scrambling to find a fodder enemy. I have mixed feelings about the chainsaw in this game. I like that it auto refills, but at the same time you run out of ammo so fast in this game, making it a requirement to use the chainsaw frequently. The equipment grenade is also back with the addition of the ice frag grenade. You can use the standard grenade or the ice frag. I prefer using the ice grenade because it freezes the enemies and gives you some breathing room should you need to get away from a horde of enemies. The normal grenade works the same like it did in 2016, but I found myself using the grenades more often thanks to the ice grenade. It's quite helpful like I said before. Next is a much needed addition in Doom, the Flame Belch. The Flame Belch is a flamethrower you can use briefly to burn enemies, and killing those burned enemies gets you armor. In 2016, there wasn't really a good way to net yourself some armor. I am aware of the rune that does drop armor in glory kills, but I didn't find it all too useful since it barely dropped much armor. The weapons in Eternal definitely play a huge part in mastering Doom Eternal, but I think movement is far more important to me. There are many upgrades when it comes to the movement, such as the dash, environmental objects, which are the monkey bars, launch pads, and portals, which are back from 2016. Monkey bars are either used for some platforming, which is something I'll get into later on. It's also used in arenas to grant you some extra airtime. The launch pad launches you high up into the air, and the portals teleport you to a different part of the arena. You can kind of fly if you use your weapons right through the SSG. The dash is a good way to get away from the enemy. Pressing the B button lets you do so. It does have a cooldown, but it's relatively short with the upgrade. Blood punches are also really nice, since glory killing heavy enemies refills your blood punch quickly. It's an AoE attack that can break down armors of enemies, and speaking of that, enemies do have weak points for you to break apart, and you mostly do that with the sniper, which I've recently been trying to quick scope enemy weak points, which is not easy at all. Granted, the blood punch is a nice alternative, but you won't always have it readily available. Runes also make a return here in Eternal. So air control and savagery. These two runes are notably the runes I always want to use. Air control gives you the ability to move freely in the air, which is super useful. However, it does take a lot of time to get used to it, so I suggest trying to use it as early as possible so you can get used to it. Savagery is the ability to gain a rush of speed after you performed a glory kill. It's pretty much an adrenaline rush in other words. This third one is a personal rune which I prefer, which is the faster glory kill rune. This maintains the pace of the game. If I'm honest, the glory kills in Eternal can be a pace breaker at times, so I want the glory kills to be quick and efficient. That was quite the tangent on the combat of this game. Let's move over to the story for a brief moment. Similar to what I said in 2016's video, the story is serviceable as you learn more from the world in the game's codex, rather than the cutscenes. Hell has invaded Earth and you have to take out every demon and leave none to survive. You spend a majority of this game in a desolate Earth going around wreaking havoc. Your hub world is the Doom Fortress, which is where you'll spend some downtime in between some levels. The first half of the game is spent getting all your weapons, slowly building up your arsenal, and the later half turns things up as you go to Hell and Urdak to take down some bosses. Then the final fight is the Icon of Sin. There is DLC of the Ancient Gods, which at the time of recording I have not purchased yet. The story itself is fine and nothing to write home about, which isn't a bad thing. The Codex explains everything and those logs are scattered throughout each level. It's some interesting stuff to be found there with the lore about the world, enemies, demons, and more. The gameplay of Eternal is fast-paced, intense, and notably strategic. Significant differences I can immediately point out is the increased dependence of the chainsaw, air movements, and how armor is handled in this game. There are a few notable changes as well. The overall combat of Eternal is much better than Doom 2016 in my opinion. I am absolutely hooked with the fast movement, new enemies, and the strategy needed to approach enemies. The first 4 stages are difficult since you are limited in your weapon arsenal. It's until the halfway point where you get all of your weapons in the Mars core level. The upgrades are present as well in the Praetor tokens and in the crystals here. Praetor tokens are for you to collect throughout the levels. I recommend you unlock the map upgrades first so exploration is much easier for you to collect secrets. Upgrades in the Praetor suit can also be put into your movement with faster weapon swapping and your frag grenades. The Praetor tokens are scattered throughout the levels, so you'll need to do a good bit of exploring to get everything out of your suit. The Sentinel crystals are upgrades to your ammo, health, and armor. Again, these are scattered throughout some levels and are useful for you. Exploration in these levels is encouraged since there's many items and secrets to be found. I really like the levels themselves, with some notable favorites for me being Mars Core, Necrofall Part 2, Cultist Base, and Final Sin. These levels are a nice improvement from 2016's linear level design. There's a good bit to explore and the areas themselves look stellar, especially Urdak. I really like going through the levels since the arenas are designed well and allow you to use your full arsenal without worry of being enclosed. This is mainly due to the SSG grapple hook being as broken as it is, so being able to fly in the air is great. However, if I do have a least favorite level, it's without a doubt Super Gore Nest. I just don't like the aesthetic of it. The arenas are way too spacious and open. It's not a fun level for me, and it's the level that I come back to the least. The rest of the levels are good, like I said, and if I talked about them individually, we'd be here forever. So let's talk about the enemies that are in this game. The enemies can range from fodder to super heavy enemies, which are imps to barons of hell pretty much. The fodder enemies are used for free armor and ammo, so imps and possessed soldiers pretty much. Heavy enemies are bulky enemies like Hell Knights, Mancubuses, and Revenants. Then there's the super heavy enemies like Archviles, but it's at least tolerable in Eternal because you can SSG grapple and unleash hell on it. Other enemies include the Baron of Hells, Cyber Demons, and you can tell they're super heavies due to their size. They are colossal. Most of the enemies aren't so bad to deal with, maybe the Cyber Mancubus if you don't have the Blood Punch, and the Cyber Demons because they take a century to kill. Bosses also return in this game, but they are a letdown for me. The Doom Hunter is a okay boss, but the one thing that is consistent throughout all these fights is that you will spend a good bit of time scrambling for ammo rather than actually fighting the boss itself. Doom Hunter has a protective shield, which normally requires you to use the plasma rifle or just shoot the sled it's riding on. That takes down its shield, and it's now weakened to be killed easily. In the boss fight, you fight 2 of them in a large arena. It can launch lock-on missiles towards you as well. Killing the 2 bosses gets you to kill the priest as well. Doom Hunter as a boss is okay, and in later levels, it's even an enemy. It's actually fun to fight as a regular enemy, but not as a boss if that makes any sense. Next is the Marauder, and let me just say this. It's not as bad as people make it out to be. Yes, you can't shoot like crazy, but it's a game of patience. Pretty much the Marauder is a mini boss in the Arc level. He is introduced as talking about how the Doomslayer is a fake warrior. He has 2 weapons, an axe and a shotgun. The axe is used when you are far away from the Marauder as a long-range option, while the shotgun is used when you are up close. The only way to strike it is when its eyes flash green. More importantly, you must use the SSG or Ballista to strike it. You can't cheese it with the BFG or Crucible either, which I found funny because it's like the depths trolling you that way. You stun it a couple times and that should kill it. But yeah, the Marauder hate is forced. I don't like fighting it as much as any other person does, yet I'm not going to bitch and complaining about it like it's the hardest enemy in the whole game. Next, the Gladiator is easily the best boss in the game, with incredible music, and enclosed arena and all. Again, enemies spawn for free chainsaw spams, and also I just remembered in 2016, stunning the boss would get you ammo and health, so why didn't they do this in Eternal? Strange, but anyways, the Gladiator is similar to a Marauder. constant putting up a shield and having a green flash letting you attack it, and it's just a really good fight. I love it. Wish it was like this again for the other bosses. Again, Gladiator is the best boss in the game, and in a short stage 2 in Sentinel Prime, so it's easy to refight the boss if you'd like to. Conmaker is okay. Now in the footage, you're seeing how you notice how I'm bitch slapping the boss. That's thanks to the rocket launcher missile mod. Something to note is that fodder enemies don't spawn in this fight, so you must kill the con angels to reload on ammo or health. Headshotting them is required. You can also use an SSG to headshot them, but I prefer to use a sniper or ballista. You break down the con's armor, then attack it through a blood punch. Repeat this process a couple of times and you're good. It's not that difficult of a boss because of the rocket launcher cheese, and if not for that, I'd call this boss bad. But thanks to the cheese, it goes to a decent range for me. The final fight in the Icon of Sin blows. What I didn't like about both the Doom Hunter and Conmaker fight is present here. The arena is way too large for no reason, so you're constantly scrambling for ammo. Now granted, this is the final fight, so Crucible energy and blood punch refills auto spawn. Anyways, the fight itself is breaking down the Icon's armor, and it has 8 body parts for you to break down. Each part ranges from his head to his stomach and his ass if you count that. Breaking the armor proceeds you to the next area where the arena is still not very good and requires you to scramble for ammo. You do the same thing again through breaking down his 8 parts, and that clears the game. With that being the final fight, I found it to not be so good. And as I've mentioned before, the boss fights, with the exception of the Gladiator, are a bit disappointing. One last thing I want to talk about briefly is the master levels. These are revisions of campaign levels with harder arenas, different routes, and more aggressive enemies. There are 4 of these, unfortunately, which is a shame. I wish the full campaign had a master mode, but the master levels are still a nice challenge to go through. My favorite level, the Mars Core, is that already of the favorite for me. The master levels are still a great challenge overall and are fun to beat. So that's all I wanted to say about the master levels briefly. Overall, I absolutely love Doom Eternal, and it's currently my new favorite game of all time. With its fast-paced combat, satisfying adrenaline rushes, strategy, and more, Eternal is a huge improvement from Doom 2016 in every way possible. 2016 was classic Doom in HD, and to me, Eternal is true modern Doom for me. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say for this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, like a video, and leave a comment, and of course, enjoy yourselves and have a good one.